What if a billionaire's life was completely changed, not by a deal, not by a scandal, but by a cleaning lady who held his baby and uncovered a secret that was never meant to surface? Stay with us, because what started with a baby's cry will end in the most unexpected proposal you've ever seen. By the time you finish this story, you won't just believe in second chances, you'll crave them. The phone call was the third one that week, and the third nanny to quit in less than 10 days. Daniel Hayes, billionaire and CEO of one of the most powerful investment firms in Europe, stormed across his glass-paneled London office, jaw clenched and voice sharp. "She quit? Again?" "Yes, Mr. Hayes," stammered his assistant on the phone. "She said the baby just wouldn't stop crying. Nothing worked. She was terrified." Daniel slammed the phone on the desk, ran a hand through his sleek dark hair, and let out a long breath. His 8-month-old daughter, Lily, had become a mystery even the most experienced nannies couldn't solve. Since his wife's sudden death 3 months ago, Lily wouldn't sleep, wouldn't feed, and cried day and night. And the silence that used to fill his modern mansion now felt like suffocating noise. Meanwhile, on the floor below, Sarah Miller was scrubbing windows in the living room. She was new to the agency, recently relocated from Jamaica, and had taken the emergency cleaning job to earn extra money to send home to her ailing grandmother. Her hands moved quickly, rhythmically, but her mind was elsewhere, on the hospital bills piling up back home, and the feeling of not belonging in a city where everyone walked fast and no one looked you in the eye. Then a sound pierced through the glass and the silence, a baby's scream. Not a whimper, not the sleepy cry of hunger or wetness. No, this cry was different. It was panic, fear, loneliness. Sarah froze, cloth in hand, and looked up. Her heart beat faster. She'd heard that kind of cry before, when her youngest cousin in Montego Bay lost his mother for a few hours during a storm. That desperate, aching cry that said, "I'm alone and no one's coming." She shouldn't go up. She knew that, but her feet moved before her brain could object. Up the staircase, past the marble frames, toward a half-open door. Inside was a nursery with pale walls and an untouched rocking chair, and in the center a baby girl, red-faced, screaming, soaked in sweat and with a soiled diaper that hadn't been changed in hours. Sarah's hands trembled. She looked around. "Hello," she called. "Is anyone here?" Nothing. No nanny. No assistant. No Daniel. Her instincts took over. She crossed the room, gently reached into the crib, and lifted the crying baby into her arms. There now," she whispered. "It's all right, little one. You're not alone anymore." Sarah held the baby gently, rocking her back and forth, her fingers brushing damp curls from the girl's forehead. Lily's cries slowly faded into soft whimpers, then into silence. The silence was heavy, unbelievable. Then a voice sliced through the air, sharp, cold, commanding. "What are you doing?" Sarah startled. In the doorway stood Daniel Hayes, tall, imposing, in a perfectly tailored suit, his eyes dark and furious. She stiffened. I'm sorry." She was crying. "I didn't know what to do. Who gave you permission to touch my daughter?" He stormed across the room, hand outstretched. Sarah instinctively backed away. "Give her to me. Now." Sarah hesitated. Lily had gone quiet in her arms, her little fingers clutching the front of Sarah's blouse like she never wanted to let go. Reluctantly, Sarah passed her to Daniel, and Lily erupted in sobs again, heartbroken wails that echoed off the walls. Daniel tried to calm her, bounced her, spoke softly. Nothing worked. I don't understand, he muttered. She was calm with you. She was soaked in sweat. Her diaper was dirty, and she hasn't eaten. He blinked, taken aback. You noticed that? I used to care for my cousins back home, Sarah said quietly. I've seen babies cry like this. They cry for what they can't say. Daniel stared at her for a long moment. Something shifted in his eyes. A realization. Then he did something Sarah didn't expect. Take her again. She looked at him, surprised. Sir, take her, please. Sarah took Lily back into her arms, and like magic, the baby settled again, curling into her shoulder with a soft sigh. Daniel looked as if he'd just witnessed a miracle. Downstairs, as Sarah prepared a bottle in the chef's kitchen, Daniel stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching her. Lily was calm, alert, her tiny fingers tracing Sarah's necklace as she drank. What's your name? He asked. Sarah Miller. Where are you from? Jamaica. I've been here 6 months. He nodded slowly. What time do you finish work today? In an hour. He paused, then said, when you're done, come to my office. I have a proposal for you. Sarah's heart pounded all the way to the office. She knocked, hands trembling. Come in, Daniel said from behind a massive oak desk. She entered, sat quietly across from him, feeling out of place in her faded cleaning uniform in a room filled with gold-framed diplomas and million-dollar deals. You've taken care of children before? Yes, sir. My cousin's in Jamaica. I also worked for a family in Kingston before coming here. Why London? She hesitated. My grandmother is sick. She needs expensive treatment. I send money home every week. Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into a folder and pulled out a sheet of paper. Your agency says you're responsible, reliable. I try my best. He closed the folder. I want to offer you a full-time position as Lily's nanny. Sarah blinked. But I am not a professional nanny. I clean. I don't care. My daughter hasn't stopped crying in 3 months. You held her for 5 minutes, and she slept. She swallowed hard. What would the job be? You'd live here, in the staff quarters. Every weekend off. Salary, £20,000 a month. Sarah's mouth dropped open. It was more than she could ever imagine. I don't know if I can. Why not? Because looking after a baby is different from cleaning. What if I mess up? Daniel stood and walked to the window. I've hired nannies with degrees, years of experience. They lasted 2 days. You made her smile. She thought of her grandmother, of the medication, of the bills, and of Lily's tiny hand clutching her chest. When would I start? Tomorrow. Sarah took a breath. All right, I accept. The next morning, she arrived with one small suitcase. Daniel showed her to a simple, clean room and then to Lily's nursery. Her routine is chaos, he warned. She eats at random times. Won't sleep. Last nanny called her impossible. Sarah knelt beside the crib. Lily was awake and gurgling softly. Hello, little one. Do you remember me? The baby gave a sound that almost resembled a laugh. Sarah smiled. We're going to fix this together. And from that moment forward, the house began to change. Over the following weeks, Sarah brought routine and peace back into Daniel's home. Breakfast at 8, playtime at 10, naps at 2, soft lullabies at 8. Lily began to thrive. Her cries turned into babbling. Her eyes sparkled. She even giggled for the first time. Daniel noticed it all, from the shadows. he started coming home earlier. He'd find Sarah reading on the rug with Lily, or singing while preparing bottles in the kitchen. Sometimes he stayed quietly in the doorway, just watching. One evening, Daniel returned home during a storm. The lights flickered, then went out entirely. "Sarah," he called from the staircase. "We're okay," she called back, but Lily's still in the bath. Daniel appeared with a flashlight. "Let me help." They moved like a team, getting Lily dry and warm, wrapping her in soft towels. Downstairs, they lit candles. The flickering golden light cast warm glows across their faces. Lily played on the floor with her toes, fascinated by the shadows. Daniel sat across from Sarah, something unspoken in the air between them. "Do you miss Jamaica?" he asked suddenly. Sarah blinked, surprised. "Every day, especially my grandmother." "She's sick?" She nodded. "Diabetes. Heart issues. She needs surgery, but it's too expensive." Daniel stared at the candle flame. "My wife, she was sick too. Before she died. I never talk about her." "What was she like?" Emma was light. She made everyone feel like life wasn't so heavy. I didn't deserve her. Maybe she saw something in you that you couldn't. Silence. Sarah rocked Lily gently in her arms, who yawned and drifted to sleep. "You're not as cold as you pretend to be," she said softly. Daniel looked up. "You barely know me." "I know pain when I see it. And I know the difference between someone who pushes people away because they're cruel and someone who does it because they're scared." He moved closer, barely an inch. "What am I scared of then? Of letting someone in, of losing again." Daniel didn't speak. He simply reached out, brushing a hand across Sarah's cheek. Her breath caught. "I know this is wrong," she whispered. "I work for you. We're from different worlds. You lost your wife 3 months ago. None of that matters right now." Their lips met, a kiss born of sorrow and need. Gentle, shaky, then stronger, deeper, as if something in both of them finally let go. When they pulled apart, their foreheads touched. Neither spoke, neither moved, but everything had changed. The next morning, Daniel was distant. The warmth of the candle at night had vanished. He didn't mention the kiss. He barely looked at her, and Sarah understood. She had crossed a line, so she kept her distance. Focused on Lily. Cleaned. Cooked. Played. 3 weeks passed. 3 long, cold weeks. Until one afternoon, while deep cleaning the master bedroom, she found something. A box. Dusty. Tucked behind designer suits. She pulled it out. Inside, letters. Photos. And a black mobile phone. Lily crawled beside her, reaching for the shiny object. "No, baby girl, that's not a toy." But it was too late. Lily pressed a button. The screen lit up. A video started playing, and Sarah froze. On the screen was a beautiful woman with kind eyes and dark hair. She sat in what looked like Lily's nursery. "If you're watching this, I'm probably gone," the woman said. "Daniel, I need to tell you something." Sarah knew she should stop the video, but she couldn't. "Lily is not our biological daughter. I adopted her, without telling you." Sarah's heart stopped. "I lied to you. I falsified the papers. I was scared you wouldn't love her if you knew. But I loved her the second I saw her. She's ours, Daniel, in every way that matters." The video ended. Sarah sat in silence, Lily curled in her lap, oblivious. That night, Sarah couldn't focus. She spilled Lily's juice. Twice. "Are you okay?" Daniel asked. "I'm fine," she lied. But she wasn't. The next day, She couldn't hold it in. She waited until Lily was asleep and Daniel was alone. "Mr. Hayes," she said, voice trembling, "I need to show you something." She held out the phone. "Yesterday, while cleaning, Lily found this. I think you need to watch the video." Daniel took the phone, played the video. He watched in silence. His face went white, then red. "This is a lie," he whispered. Then louder, "This is a lie." He stood, voice thundering. "You edited this. You planned this." "I didn't." "You're manipulating me. You've been acting strange since that night. You think this story, gives you leverage?" "Mr. Hayes, get out of my house. Now." Tears filled Sarah's eyes. "You don't mean that." "I do. Leave." Half an hour later, suitcase in hand, Sarah kissed Lily's sleeping forehead one last time. "Goodbye, my darling. I'll love you always." And she walked out the door. Sarah arrived in Birmingham with just 30 pounds in her pocket and a broken heart. She had taken the first bus out of London, not caring where it went, only that it took her far from Daniel, far from the baby she still felt in her arms, far from the man who had told her to leave as if she meant nothing. At the bus station, she saw a job ad. Housekeeper wanted. Small home. Quiet family. She made the call from a payphone. "Yes," the woman said kindly. "You can start tomorrow." The house was simple, warm, nothing like Daniel's mansion, but it was safe. Mrs. Harrison, the elderly woman who lived there, didn't ask many questions. "I'll pay $5,000 a month and include food. Does that sound good?" It was far less than what Daniel had offered, but for the first time in weeks, Sarah could breathe. Still, every night, she thought of Lily. Was she all right? Did she cry like before? Did she ask for Sarah with baby babble no one could understand? One night, Sarah's phone rang. "Miss Miller," came a man's voice. "I'm Dr. Thompson. I'm Lily Hayes' pediatrician." Sarah's heart dropped. "Is she okay?" "Physically, yes, but emotionally, no. She refuses to eat, won't sleep. She cries constantly. Mr. Hayes gave me her number." Sarah blinked. "Why?" "He said you were the only person who ever managed to calm her. I've never seen a baby this age show signs of what looks like infant depression." Sarah's knees buckled. The pain she had bottled up burst through her chest. Lily was suffering, just like her. That same night, 4 hours away in London, Daniel was also falling apart. He'd hired 4 nannies in a week. None lasted more than 48 hours. Lily wouldn't sleep, wouldn't eat, wouldn't stop screaming. He sat on the nursery floor one night, holding her in his arms, both of them crying. "Tell me what you want," he begged her. "What do I do?" She only cried harder, and in that moment he finally understood. "You miss her," he whispered. "You miss Sarah." Daniel stood up, walked to his study, and replayed the video. This time not with rage, but with the eyes of a father. He hired a digital forensic expert. 2 days later, the verdict was in. "Mr. Hayes, the video is authentic. No edits. No manipulations. It's real." Daniel sat in silence. Emma had lied, but Sarah hadn't. She had only told him the truth and paid the price for it. 3 days later, Daniel drove 4 hours to Birmingham. He found Sarah's address through the cleaning agency. He knocked on the door, dressed in a simple coat, no suit, no ego. Mrs. Harrison answered. She narrowed her eyes. "What do you want?" "To speak to Sarah." "She doesn't want to speak to you." "Please, it's about Lily." Mrs. Harrison paused. then called Sarah from the garden. When Sarah saw him at the door, her breath caught. "What are you doing here?" "I was wrong." "Yes, you were. About everything. The video is real. I had it analyzed." Silence. "And Lily, she's not okay." Sarah looked away. "I know. She cries for hours. Won't eat. Won't sleep." "I'm sorry to hear that." Daniel stepped closer. "I miss you, Sarah. I miss what we had. What we could have had. You threw me out like I was garbage. I was scared. Of Emma's memory. Of you. Of feeling something again. So why are you here?" Daniel met her eyes. "Because Lily needs you. And you. I need you too. It's not that simple." "I know." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small box. "I didn't come to ask you to come back as an employee." He opened it. Inside was a ring, simple, beautiful, meaningful. "I came to ask you to come back as family, as the woman I want to build a life with." Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks. "You hurt me. I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." Long silence. Then she whispered, "All right, I'll come back, but for Lily." Daniel nodded. "That's enough for now." The next day, she returned to London. The mansion hadn't changed, but Lily had. She was thinner, quieter, fragile, until she saw Sarah. The baby clung to her neck and didn't let go. Sarah whispered into her ear, "I'm here now, my love. I'm not leaving." That night, Lily ate more than she had in 2 weeks. Daniel, too, began to change. He spent more time on the floor than behind his desk. He learned how to feed, how to soothe, how to hold his daughter like a father. And every night, he asked Sarah the same question: "How can I earn your trust back?" Her answer never changed. With time. 3 months later, Lily said her first word, "Daddy." Daniel broke down in tears. And Sarah, she smiled, because she knew that love had finally reached the place where it belonged. One evening, as they watched Lily play on the carpet, Daniel took Sarah's hands. "I want to marry you." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." She kissed his cheek. "Then let's do it in Jamaica." 2 years later, flour covered the kitchen. Lily was 3 now, giggling as she tried to make pancakes with her parents. Daniel wore pajamas. Sarah wore an apron, and they were both terrible at cooking. "Weird family," Daniel said. "Why?" "A Jamaican woman, a British billionaire, and a little girl who brought them together." Sarah kissed him. "We're not weird. We're perfect." Moral of history: love isn't always neat. It's not always planned. And it doesn't always come from where we expect it. Sometimes it arrives in silence, in cries, in broken things that are waiting to be healed. But when you open your heart, really open it, you might just find something more valuable than all the money in the world: a family.